Hello, everyone, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to the review of Prime Video's new superhero noir series, Spider-Man Noir. All 8 episodes are now available, whether you want to watch it in black and white or in the color version that unfortunately I had to watch it in. I don't know, I couldn't get my setting. I couldn't find the way to switch it on my TV, but it was just the color version, which was cool. It looked gorgeous, but I wanted to see the black and white version, which I do plan to watch it again in black and white where it was initially intended to be. And so if you watched it in black and white, I envy you. I really do. I wish I would have experienced it for the first time in that format. But nonetheless, I did get to experience it. Spider-Noir is kind of an offshoot in an alternate universe within the Sony Spider-Man universe. And we all know that Spider-Man, well, is Spider-Man Noir. The character shows up in Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, and Nick Cage voiced that character in the animated films. Well, now we get the live action version, and Nick Cage reprises the role of Spider-Noir, playing Ben Reilly, an aging down on his luck private investigator grappling with his past life as the only superhero in 1930s New York City, the Spider. When an exceptional case comes his way, Ben must become the Spider once again. This is the first of 2 Spider-Mans that we're getting this year, Spider-Noir and Spider-Man Brand New Day with Tom Holland and Zendaya and Sadie Sink, and that comes out next month or the month, no, in July. And so we're going to get our Spider Field this year, and it all kicked off with this. I'm not going to say I was highly anticipating Spider Noir, but my curiosity more than anything got the better of me. One, huge Spider-Man fan, huge Spider-Man Noir fan. And so I did want to see it, but I was kind of scared. I was a little skeptical with this live action adaptation of the character, because let's be honest, people, outside of Marvel, outside of these Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, there has not been a good Spider-Man movie in a while. They've been fumbling all over the place when it comes to Spider-Man properties. Now, not so much Spider-Man proper, but I'm talking like the Sonyverse, with the Venoms and the Morbiuses and the Madam Webs of it all, Craven the Hunters, God help us. All of these Spider-Man properties have crashed and burned. And so I was scared looking at it from that prism. Now, I wasn't scared to see Nicolas Cage in live action, to a degree. I know acting wise, I mean, we talking about Nick Cage, people. He's going to kill it. He's going to kill it in this role. But I was worried about his age. I was worried about it. Man, Nick Cage is like, what, 60? 60 something? Early 60s? Yeah, he's not a spring chicken no more, And we're talking about Spider-Man. Now, granted, wasn't expecting him to be swinging from buildings, even if he was 20. So I know that much, but only Tom Holland is that crazy. But as far as the fighting and all of the other action sequences that was going to take place throughout this show, I was a little skeptical of that. But I will say this. They did a good job of not only kind of writing that into the show, because he's an aging guy. He's up there in age. They do a really good job of beating that down our head, because you can't help but look at it that way, because they make him look older than what he actually is. Nicolas Cage, he looks beat up and broken, and that's the way that character is supposed to be. But they did a good job of leaning into that to explain that away. before I get more into Nick Cage, let's get to the rest of the cast. You have Lamorne Morris, Jun Li. You have Jack Huston and Brendan Gleeson in this show as well, with many others. But those are our main characters throughout this show. Man, look, bro, this was a stellar cast. I once I got to around episode 3 or 4, I was like, man, this is top notch filmmaking here. This is they really didn't skim on anything. They didn't skim on the cast. They didn't skim on the production. They didn't skim on the visual effects. This was a top notch production. This cast was amazing. Lamorne Morris, fresh off of winning an Emmy for, well, not fresh, it's been a couple of years, but winning an Emmy on Fargo a couple of years ago. Everybody knows him from The New Girl and other shows and films that he has popped up in, but he plays Robbie Robinson in this show, and he has a big part in this show, bigger than I expected. He was like the co-lead in this show, and I was surprised by that, you know, especially we're dealing with, we're talking about the 1930s. Let's not kid ourselves, people. Black people weren't on I would say they weren't nowhere near the top of the food chain. I don't even think they were on the food chain in the 1930s. We're barely on it now. But back then, it was clear discrimination going on. In the show, how dare they actually addressed all of that. They actually went there on these things. Now, it wasn't, you know, social commentary heavy and all that other stuff. You know, we didn't get a whole episode dedicated to the black struggle in the 1930s, but whenever we get those moments, and it was kind of spread out throughout this season, and I was like, man, this is very, very cool the way they kind of incorporated into the story, the overall story of the show. Much respect. Now, Lamorne Morris really leaned it. Him and Nicolas Cage. Well, actually, the whole cast. I'm sorry, I can't single anybody out. I'll be listing for days. The whole cast. This felt like a noir film. If you never sat down and watched an old black and white detective story from that era, you are sadly lacking, man. You need to really look up these movies and watch an old Humphrey Bogart film, things of that nature. You would be amazed by the performances in those movies. And this movie, not this movie, it felt like a long movie, but it just, because the way it just flowed. But this show really captured that flavor, and not in a parody way, not in a satirical way. This felt like it was an old 1930s serial that you used to watch on TMC, or not TMC, TCM, platforms like that. This fits right in with that. The vibe, the speech pattern of the actors here, you know, as their characters were spot on, perfect. The production design was unbelievable in this show. Everything reeked of the 1930s, or what you would think the 1930s was around that era. Oh man, such a good job. But I wanted to hurry up and sneak that in while talking about these actors and the performances they gave, especially Lamorne Morris and my God, Nicolas Cage. But all of the actors here did a phenomenal job nailing that era. I want to bring up Jun Li, who portrays Cat on this series. Bruh, I don't know if I ever seen her in anything before, but boy, that is a sexy woman, huh? she is sexy, bruh, and she is phenomenal in this show. Actually, I did see her in something before. It just dawned on me. She was in Sinners. That's the one who let him in, and she's Grace on Sinners. That's like I knew I. Anyways, yes, she's in this show, and she is phenomenal as Cat. Karen Rodriguez, who plays the assistant to Ben, was also amazing. Almost stole the show. Every scene that she was in, she stole. Just point blank. Period. Loved her character. Loved her performance. Brendan Gleeson as Silvermane. Not a villain performance that you would say, oh man, this is top 10, top 20. Nah, I wouldn't go that far. It's pretty basic, but he adds a little something to it. He gives it a little more oomph that makes this villain bigger than what I think what was on the paper. And it's Brendan Gleeson. The dude's phenomenal. Awesome in everything that he is in. Every performance was great, but I got to mention Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage as Ben Reilly here. Man, I mean, he put all my worries to shame immediately. Episode 1, I was done. I didn't have any more concerns regarding his age or his physical ability and stuff like that. I was done. I was into this character from beginning to end. Nicolas Cage, it's almost as if he's born to play this role. You know, it's almost to the point where this is something that you can clearly see he enjoyed playing this role. And Nicolas Cage, he looks like that in every movie, TV show, whatever he is in. He just doesn't care. Nicolas Cage is going to give it his all no matter what the movie is or what the show is, and he did not disappoint here. Nicolas Cage looks like he was just spit out of the 1930s here. I mean, he captured every single vibe that I remember from watching the Maltese Falcon and stuff like that. You know, I was so into his character, and he was just awesome, man. It was kind of a different Nicolas Cage. Now, do we get our Cageisms? You know, the Nicolas Cage little freak out moments and just the weird, awkward stuff that he does. Yes, we do get it, but it fits in the context of the show. I remember seeing these little moments that they showed in the trailer where he was kind of quirky and saying just off the wall stuff or making these weird faces, and you know, the Nicolas Cageisms. And it just kind of like, oh my God, he's going to be doing that the whole show. But it actually, when you watched all 8 episodes and when those moments come up, it fits in those moments. It's actually working. And bruh, I was impressed. I don't know how I can be impressed by Nicolas Cage, but I was impressed by Nicolas Cage in this role. I love the way they explained the Ben Reilly of it all. Just to give you a little backstory, the reason this show is called Spider-Noir and not Spider-Man Noir, it's a rights issue. This is still owned by Sony, and Marvel has a piece of the pie as well. So you can't be Peter Parker. You can't be Spider-Man on this show. And so the whole spider aspect of it, okay, I was cool with that. But the Ben Parker of it kind of threw me, but they actually explained it on the show. And it makes sense. Now, you had to wait a few episodes to get that explanation. But once you get it, it was like a breath of fresh air. I was like, okay, that makes sense. It makes all the sense in the world. Now, there is a Ben Reilly in the comics, but he's not Spider-Noir. Ben Reilly is actually the Scarlet Spider in the comic books. Going some geekdom on y'all just to educate y'all a little bit. But yeah, and he was a clone. That's why he had a different name. But anywho's, yeah, that's why I was kind of like, huh? Why is he Ben Reilly? But they explained it on the show. The action in this show was really good. Like I said, they did not They did not waste a dime on production here. This had to have the budget of a Avengers type movie. You know, this did not come on the cheap. There's no way. It's you know, just with all of the sets and getting the old 1930s cars. I mean, authentic looking stuff, and the way it looked in all this here, they did not skim on the price of the production. But the visual effects was great. The action was awesome. I will say some knocks I have against it is it felt like we went like 2 episodes, maybe 2.5 episodes where we didn't get any spider action, you know? And now I know it was very heavy on story driven, and I respect it for that. I love that's one of my pluses about the show. But I came to see Spider-Noir, you know, just sprinkle that in there a little bit more, you know, during these moments. I would appreciate it more. But yeah, it was moments throughout this season where he disappeared. The spider, not Nicolas Cage, because Nicolas Cage was in every single episode, heavily featured as he should be. But not so much as the spider. But like I said, this was more story driven. It wasn't action driven. And I loved the story. The story was really good. The villain was very convincing as the villain. Subplots all lined up with our main plot. And I really appreciated that, because you ever watch shows where we have our main through line and then you have your little storyline B and storyline C that's running concurrent with it, and they don't line up with the main story, and so you don't know which one to focus on more. Whereas in this case, all of the roads lead to our main story, and it was so good, so much of a joy to watch that. You know, easier to pay attention to. But I really did enjoy this show. This was a really good show, surprisingly good. And I shouldn't be surprised by it, but I was. And I don't know if that's for me being naive or what. I don't know, or protective of my feelings. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but I was surprised on how much I enjoyed Spider-Noir. Spider-Noir, which is currently on Prime Video, starring Nicolas Cage, gets a letter grade of a B+. Yeah, I did like this. I like this a lot. This is one of those shows I can go back and watch over and over and over again. The rewatchability on this is through the roof for me over here. I highly recommend it if you haven't watched Spider-Noir. But I would like to know, if you have watched it, how did you feel about the show? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know. kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Spider-Noir. I don't know if this is a one-off, if we're going to get a second season or not. I don't know, but I would say it deserves a second season. But it looks like it is expensive to make this show. So I doubt it, but if this is a one-off, I'm glad that we got it. If we are getting a season 2, I can't wait for it. I want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.